All right, everyone, and we are live.
You know, somehow that music always makes me want to.
I know. I still can't help but think every time, Chris, about the job you took from me. Broke my heart.
I know, and we are live, and we're
Yes,
live. See, I
we
just took
are
it from
live.
you again. I just took it from you again. Dang it!
About to say live from New York. Well, in my case, it's true. But anyway,
That is true. That is true. Live from New York.
hey,
It's Monday
everyone.
night.
I know, Monday night, especially. I know why we chose Monday night. We wanted to torture ourselves. Our first day back to work, and then we want to do a stream. Why? Because we're crazy. But everyone, thank you for joining us. It's this is great. I mean, this is episode 26 for us. Which we're excited about. That we're almost at episode 30. We'll talk a little bit more before at the end of the stream about our future plans. We're going to be taking it a little bit light leading up to the holidays, but we kind of want to jump pretty much right into our stream because we got some stuff going on here. But before we do that, Vinny's in the comments. He's giving us a hammer, a diamond, and the American flag. I'm not young enough to speak emoji. No. Anyways, and then we have Matt. He said he'll be dropping in. Hi, Matt. Nice to have you. Nice to have everyone. Quartz. Oh, all right. The hammer and the quartz have arrived. All right, got it. All right, but
is that a conservative take on the hammer and sickle? I don't know. I don't get it.
But no. So guys, we got a great show for you. We're going to be responding to basically crazy lefties. This is a very laid back episode. Please respond. We want to see those comments. Give us your feedback regarding these clips, whether you've seen them before or not. So we're actually going to jump into it. We got some fun AI clips, and then we got some serious clips of actual nutters going on. All right, so let's just jump into our first one. Is actually Bigfoot Uncensored when it comes to the woke culture, when it comes to TDS. So let's get into that, folks. This is gonna be funny.
I know. Imagine we're actually talking about crazy liberals. Who'd have thunk it?
Specimens remain stable until exposed to certain stimuli. Observe. Fascinating behavior. This is stage 5 TDS. Symptoms include uncontrollable screaming, sudden activism, and a complete inability to touch grass. To cure this, we must locate patient 0, the very first meltdown in the history of TDS.
Donald J. Trump is now President of the United States.
Until we cure it, please avoid exposing specimens to red ties, orange spray tan, and any sentence that starts with.
All right, so folks, when I saw this, I told Chris, I was like, we have to include this because that really is the OG. That woman at Trump's inauguration, first time around, she is the OG TDS. I don't know if anyone ever found out who she was, who she is, but she is the OG. She is the mother of TDS. And we are going to be addressing that a lot this evening. That's why we felt that clip was very appropriate. And a shout out to Bigfoot, because Bigfoot has become a part of, I think, all our lives when it comes to AI generated content. That in clips of like Judge Judy as a baby. I don't know why, I just love those.
Don't forget about this AI generated content.
Oh yeah, absolutely. So that was just a quick little fun one for you guys. Now we got one more AI. Chris is going to play that, and then we're going to get right into the actual TDS clip. So let's go.
Ah, yes. The liberal woman. A truly fascinating creature of the modern world. She is instantly recognizable by her brightly dyed hair, her oversized glasses, and the ever-present tote bag overflowing with homemade protest signs. Her natural habitat spans a wide range. Grocery store parking lots, trendy coffee shops, city council meetings she wasn't invited to, and of course, the sacred ground of online comment sections. Despite her unpredictable behavior, her routine is surprisingly consistent. Her migration route often leads her to a local coffee shop, where she orders a complicated beverage that no barista on earth can make correctly. This failure, of course, fuels her purpose for the day. She works in many environments, but rarely for long. Offices, classrooms, nonprofits, all become temporary ecosystems she must eventually flee due to what she calls toxic energy. Most scientists agree that toxic energy tends to appear whenever she is asked to follow rules or work with others. Her protests require no specific cause, only volume, dramatic gestures, and the unwavering belief that she alone sees the truth. Yet despite her chaos, the liberal woman remains a marvel of modern nature. Driven by emotion, sustained by outrage, and fully prepared to be offended at a moment's notice. She continues her journey, day after day, in her endless quest to correct a world that rarely asked for her guidance.
All right, okay, all right. So, folks, the reason I love this clip specifically is because at this point, like with Nat Geo, right, National Geographic, we could dedicate an entire channel to the leftist freakouts, the TDS. Speaking of liberal, specifically liberal white women, I made a post about that today because if y'all ain't aware, there was, of course, another handmaids freaking march, on Congress, all that crap. And of course, you got a bunch of Western white liberal women pretending to be oppressed when we've got real oppression of women going on in the world. I actually made a post about that today. I triggered some people with that one. But before we go next, I want to go to the comments quick, Chris, because of course we got Vinny active, as we always appreciate. He says TDS is contagious in public schools, but wear off naturally when you start paying taxes and work towards a 401k. I don't. Unfortunately, I think for some people it's a bit more contagious and it's a stronger strain than others. For me, it was experiencing the world absolutely. Daniel says original TDS is Jana DeVelder from Iowa. She moved to Australia a couple of years ago. Now, funny enough, we actually have had a lot of overlap with Australia, with Europe and stuff when it comes to our most woke individuals. When they deport themselves, when they leave, it's a little bit of heartbreak. Well, it was Rosie O'Donnell, I believe. She went to, what was it, Ireland? God bless Ireland. Sympathies. So, Chris, before we go to get into the actual lefties losing it, do you have anything to add here?
Well, okay, so the liberal white woman, let's set that aside for a second because that's too easy. Let's just talk about TDS. Okay. So, for anyone watching, if you don't know what TDS is, if you're new to the, insanity that is politics, TDS is Trump derangement syndrome. Now, here's the thing, guys. Do I agree with everything that Donald Trump does? Do I agree with most of what Donald Trump does? I'm going to actually go so far as saying, no, not really. I don't. I mean, I don't think that he works from a very particularly conservative stance. He works from a populist stance, which I appreciate quite a bit, because I do think that that's generally uh, good, but I think that he's taken some interesting turns and really gone against kind of the conservative movement. And but here's the difference. See, I just made a reasoned argument as to why I may not agree with Donald Trump. I still voted for him. I'd vote for him again.
Hmm.
But I just made a reasoned argument. See, that's not what the TDS um, patient does. They don't make a reasoned argument. It's just not their guy. So they lose their ever loving mind because it's just not their guy. Because that's the mindset of a liberal. Anything that doesn't go along with what they think must be instantly evil. Well,
Yeah.
I don't agree with Donald Trump on a lot of stuff, and I don't think he's evil. And like I said, I'd vote for him again. I do not have Trump derangement syndrome. I'm just saying I don't agree with everything he does, And if they probably sat back and took a reasonable approach, like what I'm doing, where I'm just simply saying, yeah, there's some stuff I don't like,
Yeah.
but I do like this. They could absolutely do exactly what I'm doing, but they're incapable as liberals of doing that. And I know that after being around plenty of liberals. Liberals, well, let's put it this way, not liberals, leftists. Because this is actually where the horseshoe theory of politics comes into play. Because if you talk to a leftist and you talk to a far right, social conservative, especially, they sound exactly the same. Because what they both want to do is tell you how to live your life. And neither can stand being wrong. The opposite of what they believe is instantly evil.
Yeah.
So, before we set on our high horses a little too high, let's remember that this happens on both sides.
Mm. Oh, well, I will say this, and then I want to get us into the clips, is that for me, one of the things I find most interesting about the TDS is how so many of the first individuals who really expressed their TDS were individuals who once did everything to get into Trump's good graces, right? You have the Clintons are one of the best examples, right? During the 80s and 90s, these individuals worshiped Trump. In early 2000s, they worshiped Trump. They clawed each other trying to get in his good graces. And then the man runs as a Republican, and he suddenly is evil incarnate. He is Hitler. And so that is actually one of the most fascinating components for me when it comes to the TDS we currently see in the world.
Oh,
Um,
I totally agree with you there. And don't get me wrong. I mean, I just felt like I did have to kind of point out it's like there is the Trump derangement syndrome. I don't know what you call the right wing version of it. I guess we haven't come up with the term for it yet. But I have noticed that it does happen on both sides. And I think that what you're dealing with here, and I think this is the point that I'm trying to make, Kevin, is that you're dealing with a lack of rational thought.
Yeah. Well, I mean, it's a lack of rational thought, absolutely, but it's also a matter of what I noticed is the idolizing, right? The false idol worshiping, whether it's on the right or on the left. The worst, in my mind, are those who do false idol worshiping. They are putting politicians, people on pedestals. They are making gods of men and women, and then when they're let down, they freak out because their core values of what they preach become challenged. So of course they freak out. But with
Right.
that, Chris and I do want to have a quick episode for you this evening because we want to make you laugh. We want to have humor with you. So our next clip that we're going to go to is what I've titled "Not Very Ladylike." And this one's funny, folks.
Or sir, I'm not sure. I didn't misgender you, did I?
Oh, please, go fuck yourself.
Oh, that's not very ladylike.
Oh, now you're fucking misgendering me. Ladylike.
Oh, well, what are you exactly?
None of your fucking business. What are you?
But you said I misgendered you. If I don't know what you are, how can I not misgender you?
I love that pause at the end. Okay, all right, folks. So I just love that pause at the end. Um, um, I love that pause at the end there because she really does. I mean, you see this a lot. It's that insanity. We're gonna go to a clip in a moment that really highlights, and this kind of did too. Because notice her voice got very high. She got a bit whiny and stuff. I have a theory which I call the default theory. I know I'm not the only one. I'm not the first person to really highlight this. But it's comical that when it comes to a lot of trans individuals, trans identifying, let me put it that way, trans identifying individuals, when they get angry or upset in some way, the default setting kicks in. So, for example, if you have a man who is trying to live as a woman, identifies as a woman, right? He will do a lot to act like a female, often though not enough. But when he
Never
gets
enough.
angry, never enough. But when he gets angry, suddenly the voice goes like this. And it's like, and same thing with the reverse. When you have a woman who is confused and thinks that she is a man, when she gets upset, she will cry. It's the default setting. This next one, I so badly want to be, I really want it to be satire. Unfortunately, I don't think it is, but I think it's a perfect reflection of that theory right there, the default theory. So let's watch this one.
Oh, yeah, and one thing, Kevin, before we go to the next thing, I think that we were dealing with a non-binary person there because they tend to be the most ultra
Oh, what
sensitive about
it?
that.
Okay, fine.
So,
They're not the cool Pennywise
God,
it.
Kevin, get with the program. Don't you understand that there are people who are nothing?
No. No.
Okay, here we go, guys.
Why can't I exist as my true self right now?
That's not your true self, that's why.
This! You don't think this is my true fucking self? What the fuck is your true self? You fucking ignorant piece of shit! Is your true self being a little fucking pussy who's shorter and feels insecure about how they are? What? Oh, you don't like coming into people's spaces and getting them uncomfortable for being their true selves? You don't like when people fucking do that to you? Then fucking learn and do that somewhere else and stop coming here, you fucking piece of shit!
All right. So I want to go to the comments quick, just because. Oh my goodness, that one. I feel like that is one of the perfects of the default setting, whatever that thing, and I am going to say thing, identifies as. So Matt is commenting. He's actually talking about idolatry. Idolatry is way more prevalent in the left. I do believe that. I think it happens a bit on the. I think it does happen on the right. We do see examples of it. As much as I voted for Trump, and I have no regrets when it comes to my vote for Trump. I'd vote for him 1,000 times over, absolutely without question, especially over Harris. There are people who put him on a pedestal, and then when someone in any way criticizes Trump, even a supporter, they completely lose it and go absolutely mad. Now, with that said, idolatry, I do believe, is more prevalent on the left. However, we do have to acknowledge where it exists on the right.
I'm really glad that Matt brought that up. Gosh, I'm not sure that I agree or disagree. It's like I just almost kind of feel like it's equal. Certainly in my campaign, I've come across plenty of people who are so dedicated to Trump that nothing can be done wrong. And there are certain things I can't say, but so let me phrase this as neutrally as possible. I'll put it this way. There are candidates that I have met in certain districts in Missouri who are all gung-ho about Trump. And, your political advisors will give you kind of a list of things to expect, especially when you go knock on doors, questions to expect. And so one of those questions is about how you feel about Trump. Well, in some of these meetings that I'm talking about, these other candidates were like, oh, well, of course, we're going to just Trump. Yeah, 100%. Ugh. Okay, well, and it was kind of like, he can do no wrong. How dare you disagree with him? That sort of thing. And that's idolatry. It truly is. And, I guess what I'm saying is like, yeah, it does exist on the left. It certainly exists on the right. And I've just seen it on the right. And it was just kind of funny when I pushed back. And I was like, well, I live in a purple district. Not everyone's going to be on board with Trump. Matt, you should have seen the reaction on their faces when I said that. It was like I killed their firstborn child by saying the fact that my voters might not actually be in favor of Trump. And it was just kind of weird.
Yeah. So Matt does do an interesting clarification. I'm going to click on this quick. He specifically says, where was it? Oh, I went to the wrong one. Right here. The Dems are far more apt to be atheists and worship the almighty state. This is why communism thrives among them. I do have to agree with that when it comes to worshiping the state, worshiping government. In that aspect, false idol worshiping is definitely, I believe, more on the left for sure. You see a much larger of that. However, I do want to go to one other comment really quick that I thought was funny. Daniel right here said, either in regards to the individual right here on the screen, either took way too many meds that morning or way too few.
I'm
It was
guessing
a
that person
cocktail.
just need. I'm guessing that person probably just didn't need the meds and probably would have been better off.
Like, I don't
Just a
know. Yeah.
thought.
So
Just
this
a
is an interesting
just a
freak
thought.
out. The reason I love having this video in this part of our stream is because the next one, I'm going to introduce it quick before we go to it. The next one is actually about a flag, funny enough. And look at this creature adorned with every flag pretty much, but you're not obviously seeing the American flag, correct? But there's a reason, because there's also I don't know if I want to call it maybe what could we call it? FDS, flag flag derangement syndrome. So when
I don't know. We should actually. I forgot. I should
yeah,
bring up. I should bring up the video of me. Oh my god.
so
You know
yeah,
what?
so what,
I'll come up with a surprise. A surprise video here at the end.
yeah.
Okay, here we go.
So with that, let's get to the American flag.
And I see an American flag, I immediately look at I'm like, that person's probably a bigot. That person's probably a homophobe. That person's probably a racist if they're just flying American flags out everywhere.
All right. So obviously, I found that one especially amusing because Chris and I have the American flag behind us both. We're both homosexual men. Chris being Jewish, I am Christian. Clearly we are the embodiment, especially of homophobia.
Oh,
So
absolutely,
it's
by all means.
it's honestly this is definitely one of my favorite clips that we have. Because wow, the thing is that even so there used to be a time, right, when you couldn't necessarily tell someone's political affiliation based on whether or not they had a flag, outside their house, right? This wasn't something that would necessarily give it away, right? Because especially following 9/11, there were flags in front of basically every house. Didn't matter if they were Democrat or Republican. The flag was waving. There was so much patriotism. It was amazing. But where we are in the current era, when I see an American flag outside of a house, I am gonna bet that there is at least, and this is me being generous. I want to give the left, liberals at least, maybe not leftists, but liberals a little bit more credit. That there's probably an 85 to 90% chance that individual is a Republican, a conservative, maybe a libertarian, but generally, I do think that we are now in a culture where if you have the American flag, you're probably going to be labeled a conservative by most people that see you with that flag. I mean, what do you have to say, Chris? Do you agree?
Oh no, yeah, totally.
I'm gonna
I,
move us
I
down.
I think it's actually kind of sad that it needs to be that way. Guys, I'm gonna replay the video for a second. Then I'm gonna try to interject another video in here.
And I see an
So just
American
give me a
flag,
moment.
I immediately look at I'm like, that person's probably a bigot. That person's probably a homophobe. That person's probably a racist if they're just flying
Kevin,
American
we're
flags
testing
out
what
everywhere.
we can do on the fly.
We're having just some extra fun tonight, folks. I think I know which one Chris is trying to find.
I think I just got it getting ready to go up. Yep,
It's a
yep,
bonus
yep.
video.
It is a bonus video. Oh, it's uploading. It's uploading. Okay, it's working. I just had to switch away and then come back. Kind of weird. I had to create an extra slide or whatever, guys. It's some crap on a technical crap on our end that we have to do. Okay. But just speaking of the flag, as far as the flag is concerned, I think that it's sad that the flag is seen as a conservative thing because the flag should be just seen as an American thing, you know?
Mhm.
And I think that we'd all be better off if we actually just saw the flag as something that represents us all, as opposed to all of these gazillion different flags that we think that
Yeah.
we need. And just as much as I don't like the pride flag, guess what? I don't like that fucking Confederate flag either. It's like, get rid of that shit. We have an American flag. Celebrate that.
Yeah.
And to that extent, here we go.
Hey guys, Chris
This is
Barrett,
what I think.
professional homosexual here. So, remember we used to have a pride flag for the gay community, and there was a nice rainbow. And then over the years, we ended up with this monstrosity. So, in fairness to my trans friends out there, and in fairness to my gay friends out there, I want to offer up a couple of suggestions of what you can do with this flag. One of the things I like to do is use this flag for target practice. That chevron's actually not that hard to hit. The last thing you can do is use this to get your grill started, so you can enjoy some nice Kansas City straight steaks. Have a wonderful day, everyone.
Gosh, we sure do need more of that.
Now, Chris, my only concern with that is that that flag might somehow taint the meat. All right, that is my concern. That if you use the flag to cook, that the progress flag, you might get urges to dye your hair certain colors, or wear thicker frame glasses, or start identifying with feminism, or change your pronouns.
Okay, so.
Oh, by the way, in the comments, quick, Chris, in the comments, Daniel, which, by the way, we all give a
the
shout
very
out
first
to.
one I had to say, nice red hair, Chris.
Yeah.
Yes,
So,
and by the way, guys, I testified before the Missouri House of Representatives with hair that looked just like that. And somehow or other, I'm taken seriously as a politician. Go figure.
I know, right?
Anyway, but Daniel also said.
Yeah, I literally sent your progress pride video to one of my straight friends recently. That's awesome, Daniel. Absolutely. So for those only listening to the audio, obviously, as you were hearing Chris describe, he took the progress flag and shot it, and then he burned it. He barbecued with it. Like I said, I'm worried about tainting the meat in that scenario. But
Kevin, just so you know, flames are purifying. Fire's purifying.
Trial by fire. And what's sad is that when he was burning that, that right there, that's not even the current progress flag. There's now yellow in the triangle with a purple circle that means intersect. It's insane, folks. It is absolute insanity. But speaking of absolute insanity, get ready for this, folks. We got a woman who has colorful hair and sleeps in a parking lot. And oh goodness, does she have TDS when it is brought to her attention that she can't just park and sleep in parking lots. So let's get to that clip.
Poor little king.
I know, right? Poor thing. Wait until you see the hair, folks. Yeah.
So I recorded them. This will probably get taken down, but that's fine.
Hey, go fuck yourself. Go fuck yourself. Hi. Did you vote for Donald Trump? Did you vote for a racist fucking dictator? So what? I'm using your parking lot to fucking sleep. What is your fucking problem? What is your fucking problem? I'm using your parking lot to fucking sleep. I'm way back there. I'm not bothering anybody. What is your problem?
It's a suspicious vehicle on the property. We need to address it.
And you know exactly what I'm doing. I'm fucking sleeping. What most homeless people have to do now because housing is affordable, and I'm clearly disabled, which you can see on my fucking plate. Laugh about it. Did you vote for Donald Trump? Did you vote for Donald Trump? Did you? There you go. I bet you support ICE too. God, you're gross. I hope no one fucks you. Ugh. Well, you're not married.
Right now.
You are. I do not care.
The police are being called. They have your plate number.
That's fine. What do you think they're going to do? It's trespassing and I'm leaving. But I had to record you first so I could put it on the internet.
All right. So, Chris, let me take the wheel with this quick. Okay, so this creature right here is saying that no one would want to F that guy, that no one would want to marry that guy. This creature right here is judging someone else's appearance and how attractive it makes them in the eyes of a possible spouse. Oh dear. Anthony, my friend A. Perillo is in the comments. He said, "Howdy, boys." But right down here, he said, this is a good one. Just a video of 2 dogs barking. That, yeah. Yeah. There wasn't just one dog barking in that video. That is for sure. But seriously, this right there. Okay, first of all, I believe you are. Yeah, you're not right. You're clearly, this woman has mental health issues. She should not be in a parking lot, however. She should be in an asylum or in some kind of program getting the help that she clearly needs. Yeah, so Chris, what's your response to this lovely lady? If,
Do you really want to hear what I have to say?
Oh, Chris, of course we want to hear what you have to say. That if you were the gentleman there and she was basically saying, yeah, you need to get out of this parking lot. No, you can't sleep here. And she went off like that towards you. What are your thoughts? What are your feelings?
Well, okay. So, very interesting sense of entitlement that she has, that she can just go sleep anywhere she wants. That's one thing. The other thing that I find very interesting is that she's homeless, but able to make TikTok videos or Instagram videos. Yeah, actually, it's Instagram. I know. So, obviously, she's not that destitute. She's talking, one gentleman was kind of older and everything like that, and certainly not my type, but that one guy was actually kind of decent looking. But if I'm going to rate her, I'm just going to say that she's probably one of the most unfuckable people I've ever seen in my life.
But even Chris, but come on. Look at that bright, colorful hair. It's true that in nature, bright colors on a reptile, on an amphibian, usually means that it's poisonous. That's true. But,
Yeah, but I've got the decency to admit when I had bright red hair, I wasn't the most fuckable looking thing either. Jesus Christ, what's her excuse?
Oh my God, I can't with this, because this is insane. And like I said, I just love the fact that she thought, and this happens a lot on the left, I don't know if you notice, and I'm sure everyone has, that you will have the most hideous individual, the most obese, nose ring, colorful hair, earrings, commenting at someone who often is fairly healthy looking about how ugly they are. And it never fails to entertain folks. It really doesn't. But this right here, yeah, I thought this was a pretty good example that we needed to include in our discussion when it comes to lefties losing it. Now, before we get to the next clip, people, one of the things that is most interesting is if you want to see the racist come out of a leftist, folks, if you really want to see.
I'm sorry, that was funny.
Yeah, no, Daniel saying, as a registered homosexual, I must say the same, Chris. Folks, one of the things, and I think we'll have a lot of viewers who can relate to this, is that nothing brings the racist out of a leftist quite like someone who is a minority demographic, someone who is black, for example, who is conservative, and especially who supports Trump. Just as nothing brings the homophobia out of a leftist than meeting a homosexual who is a conservative and, yes, who voted for Trump. So with that in mind, we're going to go to our next video, folks, because this is just gold. This is delicious. Right.
And by the way, Kevin, I do apologize for my potty mouth, but we already had to because of our clips rate this as an explicit episode, so I'm just being a little freer, just letting you know. Okay, here we go.
Black and MAGA. I can't be black and MAGA? Oh, you can be black and MAGA. You're a fucking sellout. You're a sellout. How am I a sellout? You're a piece of... I can't have my own opinion. Absolutely. I can't have my own opinion. You would expect that shit from me being white, but you hate yourself so much.
So okay, notice this. You got the skinhead. You got the skinhead white guy. He looks like in
I'm
the
sorry.
80s. He had the boots and the jeans and the suspenders and the white shirt. Like, I mean, basically, we got this was an American X, right? We got this American X looking mofo telling the black guy that, oh goodness, I can't. And this, honestly, like I said, this is in my opinion, and this is where I get a lot of people. This is the roots of the Democrat Party coming out, folks. In my opinion, right here.
True.
I mean, everything life it goes full circle, and they've gone all the way back around. They will absolutely be racist. They'll justify it in a different way. They'll target a specific type of black person, for example, but they're as racist as they ever were. And it's just absolute insanity. But I like I said, I do appreciate that you got this skinhead looking man right here calling the black guy, going after the black guy for voting for Trump. That is great. That right there is real gold right there.
That is some precious stuff, for sure. But like Vinny said, and it doesn't matter if they're really a man or a woman. Karens are hilarious regardless of party. That's a good one. That ties in because that guy's a total freaking Karen. He's sitting there telling this black man who's supposed to be of this oppressed minority how he's supposed to feel. I mean, Kevin, you've experienced it as a homosexual.
Oh,
I've experienced it
absolutely.
as a homosexual. I've been told how I'm supposed to feel by these people. And you know what I feel? I'm like, well, I want to lead a normal life. I want a husband, a couple dogs, and I'm not particularly fond of trannies. Ooh, I
goodness,
know. Did I say that? Did I say that? Did I say that out loud? And anyway, so I mean, all it is I just I just want a normal life, and that's probably all this guy who was getting yelled at once is he just wants a normal life, and he's looking to assimilate and be a part of the bigger group of people. And I think that people like you and me, Kevin, people like Daniel, people like Vinny, we're just wanting to really kind of like just fit in and live our lives and not make a big deal out of anything. Yeah, we might refer to the fact that we're homosexual or something like that, but chances are we're referring to it because we're talking about stupid crap like how do you fit three gay guys on a bar stool. Of course you turn it upside down.
So, oh goodness. Oh, by the way, one of the first times I got called homophobic, and I'm going to go to the comments in a moment because it's a good one, but one of the first times I got called homophobic is when I told my favorite gay joke, which is, what do you call a gay man in a wheelchair?
Rolaids.
Exactly, Rolaids. Like, you have no idea. I had a straight guy say that I was homophobic for that joke, and I was like, I just smiled. So
I mean, seriously, if I'm not using it as a political device, in order to combat liberals, I'm usually just talking about it in a joking way. It's not like some big effing serious part of my life. I mean, it's serious to the extent that, yeah, I have a husband, but beyond that, to me, that's just my normal life. I don't need to go out and have freaking flags plastered all over my car. I don't need the special Christmas ornaments of two men together with little pride flags that Facebook thinks that I need to see
have
right
you ever heard
now.
this one? This just popped in my head because it's more relevant now to gays on the left than it's ever been. One of my favorite jokes when I was in college at the time, and I was on the left, I was more left-leaning in college, but back when we could have a sense of humor, was what's the difference between a Nazi and a gay man?
Oh God. Okay, give me a second. Give me a second.
All right,
What's the
I'll
difference
give you a
between a
second.
Nazi and a gay man? There's got to be something about someone not screaming when they get burned, is what I'm guessing.
I like the direction you're going. I do like the direction you're going. But no, actually, the difference between a gay man and a Nazi is 45 degrees. Now, for those listening, it's the hand. It's the limp wrist, which, as you know, Nazis have a very specific salute. So if you do that salute and do the limp wrist, you got the difference in 45 degrees.
Oh my
It
God.
became one of my favorites. One of my favorites, absolutely.
Is this a gay Nazi salute? Oh, God.
It's just
Oh my God.
absolutely funny. Absolutely funny. And you know, there are some comedians coming up that I really appreciate because they are absolutely brutal. There's this one comedian, I think his last name is Quinn. He makes racial jokes across the board. He's the white guy, whitest white guy, but he makes fun of whites, blacks, Asians, gays, like he makes fun of everyone, and he's not one of those hold back in any way. No, he is tearing everyone apart, and I encourage everyone to look this man up.
I brought up on the screen because I know we're getting ready to end the show, but soon. Again, we've just got one more clip to play, guys. But I liked what Vinny had to say here. He said I can make racial joke on myself too, blah blah blah. And what I do like, Vinny, and here's kind of the funny thing. It's like I never really paid close attention to your avatar in here, and I know we're friends on Facebook, and I never really paid that much attention, I guess, to the profile picture that you had, because I guess I'm just more interested in it's like, oh, I see Vinny responded, that sort of thing, and it occurred to me it was kind of weird, Vinny, and I don't know. I mean, maybe this is stupid of me, but I was like, oh. I didn't realize until today, literally today, that Vinny's the black guy. Well, the thing is, I don't really give a flying F what your race is. So I certainly am not going to check out your picture to find that out.
Mm.
And all I care about is like you're just a decent person. And I think that that's where most people are nowadays. And that's what the left is missing is that the vast majority of us really just kind of care about the character of the person. We don't really give a rat's ass about their race or their
Mm-hmm.
gender or sexual orientation or any of that type of stuff, and so it's just like it was with Vinny. And it would have never even occurred to me to even notice that you're black. And then finally, I clicked on your profile picture and I was like, oh, Vinny's a black dude. You know what I like about Vinny right now? Here's what I like about Vinny right now. He's never made an issue of it. Good for him.
Well, you know what's funny, and it is funny because I wish I had had a chance to really chill with Vinny when I was down in New York City. Vinny, you are going to be a guest on our show in the future. Chris and I have already discussed that. So, audience, Vinny right there in the comments, he's going to be a guest in the future for sure. But I want to talk one more thing because I want to talk about humor, and then we're going to get to the last clip because I think America is healing to a degree with comedy. We are, like I said, we are seeing more and more comics who don't give a crap about being PC. Like I said, that Quinn guy I mentioned, you have Matt Rife, you have a lot of other comedians that are just really awesome and they don't give a damn. They don't give a damn about being PC, and we need that in our culture, not just from our comedians. Because I think back to when I was younger, and I had one of my first jobs when I moved away from family, which was actually in a Walmart stock room, by the way. And I used to stock. That was part of my job, was to stock the stuff in the back. We all had our own little sections where we'd stock the merchandise, the product in the back, to be taken out to the floor after. And one of my coworkers was this big Dominican guy, right? And it was funny because he was this big Dominican guy, and we would joke and take jabs at each other. And I remember one night he came in the back to where I was stocking, right? And I had stuff kind of on the floor and everything, all over the place. He comes back to me and he points around. And he goes, "What's up with this, right? Aren't your people giving your people? Shouldn't you have this better organized? Shouldn't you have this area better organized?" And I said to him, I looked at him and I said, "Shouldn't you be stealing from it?" And that's the thing. And that's the thing is I miss that world. I miss that world so much. And I really want to get us back there, because I really do miss just being able to go full on and, have jokes between friends, especially. And
Yes.
just in general, just be able to have a laugh. Now, speaking of people, though, Chris, who are not able to have a laugh, we're about to get to our last clip. If anyone knows Joy Reid, discussing our
Oh my
focus,
god, I love
actually.
her so
I know,
much.
she's
Just kidding.
amazing. I don't, folks, I rarely do that. No. But anyways, this one is actually holiday focused, which that is where we are now, folks. Now let's listen to Joy Reid and her guests talk about families and holiday gatherings. So let's get into
Oh,
that. I
exciting.
know.
Know someone voted that way. Do you recommend, just from a psychological standpoint, being around them?
Okay, I've got to stop this right here. Okay, for our listening audience right now, Joy Reid is appropriating white culture, and I do not appreciate this at all. Because I do not like that blonde hair on a black woman, because no black woman has naturally blonde hair. Okay, so she is appropriating our culture, and I see that as extremely racist. By the way, that was sarcasm, kids. Anyway, we're going on.
We got the holidays coming up. So I love that you asked this question, because, there is a push, I think just a societal norm, that if somebody is your family, that they are entitled to your time. And I think the answer is absolutely not. So if you are going into a situation where you have family members, where you have close friends who have voted in ways that are against you, like what you said, against your livelihood, and it's completely fine to not be around those people and to tell them why, to say, I have a problem with the way that you voted because it went against my very livelihood, and I'm not going to be around you this holiday.
Kevin, I mean, that's, of course I made the joke about her, doing her cultural appropriation with blonde hair, but that is actually true. Because if a white woman had dreadlocks or something like that, that would be cultural appropriation, according to Joy Reid. And I think I think the whole concept of cultural appropriation is pretty stupid anyway. Um, but this whole notion that it's okay to check out from your family members and stuff like that just because of how they believe. I mean, that's some ridiculous shit right there. It's like, first of all, if I had a family member that felt like this woman, I would ask her not to come and also tell her why I don't want her there, which is that I don't want your intolerant bigotry at my
Mm-hmm.
party. If you're willing to get along with your conservative family members and liberal family members and leftist family members and all that type of stuff and play nice so that we can all just enjoy each other's company, cool. But if you think that, you shouldn't be there because we're a bunch of intolerant assholes because we didn't vote exactly the way you thought we should, or
Mm-hmm.
we don't think exactly the way you think we should be thinking, then yeah, screw off. Go somewhere else. Go ahead, have Thanksgiving at Denny's by yourself where you deserve to have it.
Denny's. Oh, Chris, why are you trying to hurt Denny's with that? That's just horrible. Guilty by association. No, so
Because I it's
guys,
because I'm a it's because I'm a bitch, Kevin. We all
you know,
know it.
I would absolutely invite Joy Reid for sure because I would probably have an approach because obviously she'd go off as soon as she saw. Well, first of all, as a white man, that would give her enough to go off on, of course. But it actually makes me think of a now former friend um, who, when she used to be a lot more lighthearted and could take a joke. We actually were in college together. She was a feminist then, but it wasn't as bad. But she would get on a soapbox, right, and start going off about some feminist topic. And I remember I would suddenly go, "Hey, hey, hey, hey!" She'd be like, "What?" And and she would fall for it every time. I would say, "Hey," she'd go, "What?" She'd stop talking, and I'd be like, "You know what I miss? I miss when women didn't speak unless spoken to." And oh my goodness, she would give me the dirtiest look every time because I would be, and we'd have a joke. I remember one time when I was her roommate, she had put something up on a shelf using a step stool, and she didn't have the step stool with her. And like I said, she was this proud feminist. So she
Mhm.
wanted me, though, because I'm taller than her, she wanted me to grab the item off the shelf. Um, and my first response to her, I did end up helping her, guys, but my first response when she asked me to help her get the item off the shelf was, "You're a strong, independent woman. You don't need no man. Do it your damn self." The look she got.
God.
And so I mean, the thing is, she actually thought that was funny at the time. Unfortunately, other divisions came up in our lives, so we're no longer friends. But that's also to highlight exactly what I was saying. Is I want to get back to that time. I want to get back to that era when we could actually just have jokes about everything and everyone, and especially when it was family and friends, especially when it was family and friends, because I truly do miss those days. Absolutely.
Well, yeah, because I mean the thing is like if you're friends with someone, you're gonna kind of poke fun at each other. I mean, you're not a good friend of mine unless you've called me. I probably can't say it because it'll get the stream
Yeah, let's
bleeped.
not go that long. We know how
But
things.
let's put it this way: you know what word I'm talking about, and I don't take offense to that. I don't take offense to it at all. Now, if it's said to me in malice, for sure, I'm not gonna like it just as much as if you called me a son of a bitch in malice. I'm not gonna like that either. But if you call me the F word, you know, in a joking sense, and I call you a breeder or whatever the case may be, I mean, it's just us joking with each other. And it's totally acceptable. It's totally cool. You
Right.
know, um, and so to me, it's a sign of like a close friendship when you can have those types of jokes with each other. So I do have to wonder what kinds of friendships leftists really have with each other. And I am talking about leftists
Mm,
here, not talking about the liberals. They're a totally different animal. But the actual leftists, I do wonder, what kind of jokes they tell each other. Do they rib each other at all? Do they have fun with each other? It doesn't seem like they probably do. Well, they would say that they probably do, but
Yeah.
it's got to be this like super sanitized version
And
of
you can't punch
fun.
down. You can't punch down. So usually these friendships, by the way, for example, if it's a black, if it's on the left and it's between a black person and a white person, the black person can make white jokes, right? The white person can make jokes about the black person, but it can't do anything about race. This is how the left works. If it's between a man and a woman, the woman can make jokes about men, but the man can't make jokes about women because that's punching down. That's really what I've seen of those friendships and what I experienced of those friendships. And honestly, why I ended up losing so many of those friendships is because apparently I punched down too much. Which there's a short joke in there, by the way. So I had a few friends that I guess that was correct, but it was like I miss it. Oh, speaking of a short joke, right? I working at my one job, we had this coworker. He honestly was he was less than 5 foot tall. He may have broke 5 foot, may have, right? And he would get all mouthy with us because he's a funny guy, and he'd get all mouthy with us and everything like that. And he, like, when he met me, for example, he says, "Damn," he's like, "I can't use my best line on the work site anymore." And I was like, "What's that?" He goes, "Usually when I want to be smart with the other guys, I tell them to go suck a He's like, "I can't say that to you as a gay man." Because I know he's like, it's not like it's an insult to you. And so after that, he would jokingly tell me to go eat a. Anyway, so it's funny because mind you, this is a warehouse environment. These are blue collar guys. I came to love a lot of these blue collar guys because they were just funny. And one time, like I said, he's so short, he'd get mouthy with me. And I remember talking, I was like, "Hold on 1 second. I want you to grab that milk crate right there and stand on that and say that to my face." So it was a really good back and forth, and I really miss that world. Absolutely.
Well, I'll tell you what. I'm old enough to remember listening to Rush Limbaugh, and I listened to Rush Limbaugh quite a bit, even when I consider myself more on the liberal side. I just liked the guy because he was entertaining. Plus, he was a fellow Missourian, so it was kind of interesting listening to what he had to say. For those who don't know, he was an announcer for the Kansas City Royals and all that good stuff. That's how he got his start. Um, anyway, one thing that Rush always talked about was the feminization of America.
Mm-hmm.
And, I really do think that that is kind of the problem that we're dealing with here because think
Mm-hmm.
about it,
Absolutely.
Kevin. That type of ribbing, that sort of like, little sucker punch to your friend and that type of stuff that
Right.
we as men do not take personally. In fact, if you want to be a part of the guys, so to speak, you take that shit. But what you do is you learn how to take it and then you learn how to cleverly return it as well.
Yeah.
And when you learn how to take it and cleverly return it, all of a sudden the guys like you, regardless of whether you're gay, black, whatever. It doesn't make any
Mm-hmm.
difference. And so I'm not saying that women can't do the same thing, but these ultra feminists out there, they don't know how to do that whatsoever. They don't know how to take a joke. Everything is totally serious to them, you
Yeah.
know, um, and everything must be taken at face value. And they have basically taken their worldview of I don't know, this sort of like, insane sort of, political correctness and imposed it on all of us.
Yep.
So therefore, we don't feel comfortable saying these things to each other as friends that we should be comfortable saying. Maybe women will never get into that crowd. My guess is most women would want to do that and probably are totally capable of doing it. So ladies, if feel like, calling your girlfriend a bitch, go right ahead and do it. You might be better friends for doing it. The thing is like just take it in stride, have some humor about it, that sort of thing. Don't take it to the extreme level of this ultra sensitivity that these crazy feminists have imposed on all of us. And guys, men specifically, I am talking to you. It is time for us to reject all of that feminist bullshit.
Oh,
A hundred
absolutely.
percent.
I don't. And by the way, guys, and by the way, and Chris, I didn't mean to cut you off too much. It's just I am so passionate about this because even if you are an effeminate man, which I have my flair, I own that, right? You should still be encouraging a masculine sense in this country because we need it, folks. We need it. So I don't care. And you know for a fact, even if you are one of those effeminate gay men, that really your search history for attractive men are probably all masculine. You know it. Don't lie about it. Now, I want to go to the comments quick. I'm not going to highlight the comment just because I don't want us to get hit, Chris. I am going to read it and then blank a word. But because it reminds me of a story with a friend that I had, or someone I knew back in the day, an acquaintance who had a good sense of humor. A Perillo said in the comments, once early in high school, I picked up a coin on the ground in a manner that my friends decided was too fast. As a result, I was called the Juice from that day on and was the butt of many juice jokes. Now, the reason I was so happy, because I swear, by the way, Abe Perillo is a good friend of mine. I've known him for a long time, well over a decade, folks. Great guy. I do want to have him on a stream in the future. But so it reminds me of years ago. I knew this guy who was Jewish, a Jewish guy, and we would jab back and forth. But he had that habit. If he saw a penny, especially if it was heads up or a dime or a nickel, whatever it was, he'd pick it up. And me being a good friend, every time he went to pick up one of those coins off the ground, I would simply say, "That tracks." And and like he'd see a quarter, pick it up, or a penny, pick it up off the ground, and I'd be like, "Well, that tracks." And we had a good friendship, and we didn't like have a falling out. We just went our different ways in life. Of course, I don't even have him on social media anymore, but he was a funny guy. And again, folks, that's the world that I miss. That is the world that I truly and deeply miss. Absolutely. Yeah. So folks, let's get back to that. We need to get back to that world because I really feel that is what will really help heal our country. And because another thing I full-heartedly believe is if you want to know how much a nation loves and respects freedom of speech, see how that nation treats its comics. Does it allow its comedians to make fun of anyone? And I do mean anyone. Do they allow them to punch up, down, sideways, crossways? Anyway, does this culture truly allow comedians to be comedians without freaking out, trying to silence them, trying to cancel them, whether it be on social media or whatever? Because if the culture doesn't try to cancel them, if the culture lets comedians be as crass and as out there as they want, that's a culture that respects free speech, in my opinion. If it's a culture that is like, you can't make fun of this demographic, you can't make fun of that demographic, then you're not really dealing with a culture that has any true concept, any true respect or understanding or grasp of freedom of speech. That's just my opinion.
It's my opinion too. I mean, really, it does kind of go back to what I was saying about the feminization of America that has been perpetrated upon us by feminists. I go so far as saying extreme feminists, probably not the average everyday feminists, but the more extreme feminists have been very successful in making sure that we all feel bad about being men, that we all feel bad about having male sensibilities, that even women, God forbid, they actually like something about male sensibility, that makes them also a terrible person. All I can say, guys, free yourself. Free yourself from
Yeah.
this shit. You know, free yourself. There's no reason to be held down in the chains. There's no reason to be held on. There's no reason to be captive on the plantation of feminism, okay?
Yeah. And you know, I think we're going to do a long stream on that because I think we need to bring more attention to this feminization of our culture, and it's all across our culture, right? Especially in schools. We wonder why boys are failing in school so much. It's because our education system teaches boys as if they're supposed to be girls. Boys boys just by nature learn more hands-on. We're more hands-on learners and stuff, but our education system is actually set up more in line to how girls develop mentally, to how girls best learn. And boys just get tossed aside. And that to me is the biggest issue that I have with feminism. As much as feminists may tell me that feminism is about equality of the sexes, I'm like, prove it to me. Show me where the feminists are trying to raise boys and men up. And I mean raise them up, not by turning them into girls, not by making men talk about their emotions every 5 seconds, or wanting men to do this, or wanting boys to do that. No, where are feminists advocating for men to be men? And I have yet to have a feminist show me where that's taken place. I have yet to have one feminist show me.
I'm going to tell everyone a deep, dark secret here. Okay, guess what? Feminism is nothing but a supremacist movement.
Uh-oh. Oh, just blew the lid off that. Oh, goodness. Now you're going to have a bunch of butch, what's that, you know, that part of a dam? You're going to have a bunch of those butches at the door. No, oh goodness. See, that's another thing is I will admit my relationship with the lesbians tends to not always be the best. There are some who are really relaxed and chill, and I love them. But I notice, like, when it comes to a lot of the lesbians, yeah, those. Like I said, I love some of them, but it is the jokes get too far for them too quickly, and that is what I notice. I have a lot of women in my life that I love. Amazing women, great hearts, but I have noticed that they have more of a limit as to where you can take a joke than men do, obviously, right? Like, generally, if a woman asks you, you know, if a woman asks if she looks fat, there's a joke with that, where if a woman asks if she's fat, and if you make a joke about that, chances are the woman's going to be offended, right? But if two guys, if a man was to ask another man, do I look fat? The other man is likely to respond, I have five friends and you're 3 of them, right? I have 5 friends and you're 3 of them. You make up 3 of them, right? This is just how we are, and that's why masculinity is needed back in America. Right? Because I'm sorry, even on the right, you see this hyper feminine, this you know, you see where feminism has seeped in to where I just am like, I'm not impressed. Like, what is it? I've seen campaigns where it's women running for office, right? Even as Republicans. And they're talking about how you need someone in heels in office and all this stuff. And I'm like, well, if that's the case, then there are drag queens. No, but the thing is, so even a lot of women on the right are a reflection of the feminist movement that has damaged our country to such a large degree. Because they make it about being a woman. They make it about being a woman. A lot of women on the right make it about being women. Just like I've seen some gay guys who are supposedly on the right make it about being gay. They make it about being gay, especially when they're attacked, right? You know, that to me is where I can tell if someone on the right is also a sensitive individual. If when they face a challenge, they make it about their identity. That right there is a big highlight, and I do see good many examples of that on the right, where a politician will get insulted and make it about their race, make it about their sex, even if those attributes weren't mentioned at all. So, you know, it's a wild world out there for sure, absolutely. But you know, I know we've been going from.
It's okay. One last secret. Guys like to talk about their dicks. It's weird. Anyway.
No, but I will say, don't get me wrong. As I get older, I will admit I'm getting more reserved, of course, and I think certain things are just not appropriate in certain settings more and more, and I think that's a good thing actually. But when it comes to friends and just chilling and relaxing, I still enjoy those. I still enjoy good jokes. And I think, like I said, I think that's what we need more of in America. And another thing when it comes to the gays, and I'm gonna be very blunt with this. I'm gonna be very blunt, especially with the extremely effeminate gays. Especially, those you try getting rid of your hags, all right, for a little bit. If you're, get rid of your hags, get rid of your Goldilockses. I'm not saying cut them out of your life, but try being friends with other men, and I don't mean gay men. Right? Here's the thing: is like, can you bring yourself to be friends with a heterosexual man? I think it's healthy for you. I think that actually one of the things that homosexual men as a group, as a demographic, needs in it is masculinity, actual masculinity back. Because there was a time when it was all about the masculinity in the culture, and guess what? Why many were activists and many spoke loudly, it wasn't whiny. There wasn't this push for the feminization of the culture. There wasn't a push for men invading women's spaces, and there wasn't this attack on children, right? Because being a man comes with certain responsibilities. Being a man, you are a protector of the culture, right? It is your job. That is one of the things of being a man, whether it's in the aspect of being a soldier, whether it's in the aspect of being a father, whatever it is. One of the aspects of being a man in a culture is you are a protector of that culture. And therefore, you don't want to harm people. You don't want to target people. You want to protect people. And that is why masculinity needs to come back into America. It needs to come back also into the homosexual community. That's just my
Well,
perspective on that. I
you
know I've
know,
ranted a bit.
oh no, I think that was actually pretty good, Kevin. I mean, to be quite honest, I I I I I I don't think that it's really a point of disagreement, but maybe maybe I'm clarifying something you meant, but maybe you didn't mean this, so tell me if I'm wrong. But truly, I think that there is plenty of masculinity among gay men, even the effeminate gay men. Because when you think about it, it's like they get kind of like you know um uh friendly into these friendly confrontations with each other, just like a straight men do. They just might do it in a different way, but
In a more
it's
flamboyant fashion. Yeah.
right, but it's still kind of the same thing. I think though that what you're really talking about there, and like I said, correct me if I'm wrong. I think what you're really talking about there is, again, it's the feminization of our culture. The original gay rights movement, when you saw the gay men out there demanding their rights, because it was predominantly gay men, it wasn't lesbians, it wasn't certainly wasn't trans people. It was mostly gay men, and they weren't flamboyant or anything like that. They acted just like normal men. Um, but there were some flamboyant guys out there, and that's fine. If, guys
Yeah.
flamboyant, who cares? Whatever, you do you. Um, but they were forceful and they were masculine in their demands. They were not ready
Hmm.
to accept less. They wanted everything that they were demanding, and I've got to respect that, because in that regard, it was actually a very uh, masculine movement, I guess you could say. But just as much as other parts of the culture have been negatively affected by this feminization, the gay community, meaning specifically gay men, have, especially the left leaning gay men, especially them, I'm pretty much not talking to the right-leaning gay men here, but
Yeah.
the left-leaning gay men, y'all have become feminized. You become little bitches. That's kind of what
And,
you
and
are.
and I don't want to just focus also on the gay man. I'm going to be honest here. I have a lot of nieces and nephews. For those unaware who haven't heard me mention this before, I have 17 siblings. I have a lot of nieces and nephews out there, and a lot of my nieces, they would date these guys. I do have nieces, by the way, that are in their 20s. They would date these guys who in my mind, even though I had no doubt they were heterosexual guys, they were very effeminate. They were effeminate in a way that unnerved me. And I know a leftist would accuse me of having internalized homophobia here, but I thought about my nieces and I looked at these men, these boys, I'm going to say, that they were with, and I was like, if someone were to attack my niece, could this man protect her? Could this man be a protector? Forget providing, right? Because I know, like, I'm not as big on the money thing. I know women, statistically speaking, men tend to date down, financially speaking, economically. Women tend to date up or across. They don't tend to, date down in regards to a man, and that's just nature, right? That's just, in my mind, there's something natural about that. But I'm not even talking about finances. I'm talking about a man being a provider and the fact that he can provide a sense of security for a woman. And I'd look at these guys. Like I said, I had no doubt that they're heterosexual. I'm not, but they were feminized by the culture to a point where
Mm-hmm.
I'm looking, and like I said, I'm looking at these guys, these boys, and I'm like, how can this man protect my niece in any kind of situation? How can he provide anything really? How can he do any of this? And like I said, I know that will get me accused of internalized homophobia, but you know what? I don't care. I don't care, because those boys being feminized like that is destroying our culture. Is one of the things destroying our culture, and I make no apologies highlighting it.
Good for you.
Now
Good.
fortunately,
No,
yeah.
seriously, good for you, Kevin, because you shouldn't make any apologies for that. Because honestly, that is it. When it gets down to it, we as men serve a role in this society, and it is up to us to live up to that role. Women serve a particular role in our society, and it's up to them to live up to that role. And we complement each other, even if we're gay
Oh yeah.
and straight and all this type of stuff, we still complement each other. And yeah, if I let me put it this way, if my niece, excuse me, if my niece brought home some blue-haired, limp-wristed piece of shit, and was like, "Oh, this is my boyfriend," I'm gonna be like, "Well, um, are you sure it's your boyfriend or is he your girlfriend?" I'm going to give her shit about that choice, because
Mhm.
I'm like, girl, you need to find an actual man, not this piece of shit. Because chances are he's going to move you into his parents' basement, and that's where you're going to live for the next 10 years until he finally
Yeah.
gets enough money to get a studio apartment, on the outskirts of town. And, give me a
Yeah.
break. I
And
mean,
let's
I'm
see. And
sorry,
I'm going to be
because,
honest. Sorry.
well, I was just going to say, give me a break on this shit,
Yeah.
guys. It's like, seriously, it's like these these limp-wristed, pathetic, pussy left men are about as athletic as, I don't know, a freaking brine shrimp or something. I mean, they're worthless. They're not
Yeah.
going to stand up for you. They're going to be the first ones to go scurrying away into a corner to protect themselves. Hell, they're not going to even care about their children, you know.
And we're
Get
going to wrap
over
up in a
that shit,
moment, but
guys.
Chris, I think A. Perillo just made a comment that will highlight everything you're trying to say and everything I've been saying, at least a large part of it. I'm going to bring it up here.
Oh, I just brought
So
it.
yeah, he said, so he says, I was raised to be incredibly soft. Took me countless years of hard effort on my own part to toughen up. Still more passive than I'd like to be, but at least I'm not a coward anymore. So, like I said, Perillo and I, we've had conversations about this. We had one a little bit more in depth, and I was honest with him, and I brought up the financial thing, right? Because I do know a number of men where their wives do make more money than them, and I know that tends to be a focus. But to me, the protector is the main focus. Because I'm sorry, I have never in my life met a heterosexual woman. I've never met a heterosexual woman where I've asked her this question. And she said yes. I was like, I got a question for you. Say you were walking with your man, right? And someone came out, a mugger, whatever, with a knife or a gun, or went to attack. If your man screeched and put you in front of him, are you telling me you'd stay with that man? I've never had a woman tell me. Even the most hardcore feminists that hear me roar, women can do anything men can do. I've never had a woman tell me that she would stay with a man who wasn't willing to protect her, who wasn't willing to do that stuff. I will be fully honest. But then again, I want to shout out to the women here, because I'm going to say this. I know a number of women who go on and on about how they want a man who would treat them like a queen. And my response to these women, is often, okay, you want a man who would treat you like a queen? I get it. But are you a woman who would treat a man like a king? Because if you're not, that's feminism that's corrupted your mind. That's rotted your mind. Same thing if you're a woman who wants a traditional man, a man that's going to open doors, a man that's going to hold your hand, a man who's going to do all these things, but there ain't nothing traditional about you as a woman. Get out of here. Get out of here. You got to be a reflection of what you seek in the world. You're a woman who wants a traditional man. You better have some traditional components to complement that man. You're a woman who wants to be treated like a queen. You better be willing to treat that man like a king. So I'm going to go at both here. I know I've been focusing on the men being weak, but also the women. Feminism has made you think that you need to be a man. That's why you're unhappy. That's why depression rates are so high among women now. That's why so many women are on medications dealing with that. That's why so many women complain about feeling lonely. Because the culture has feminized men and it's masculinized women. And you all wonder why you're not complimenting each other anymore. But, sorry, there's another bit of a rant of mine. But
Nah, it's true, Kevin. It is true, and I mean, I really don't have a whole lot more to add to that other than I would just say, you know, um, ultimately, when it gets down to it, I see men as protectors, and I see women as nurturers.
Yep.
And that's kind of how I sort of see it. Maybe that's a simplistic way of seeing it. But, that does that mean that the man has to necessarily make the most money? No, I'm not saying that. I am talking about someone who can actually physically protect you, that sort of thing, and that comes in many forms, not just financial, you know. So I mean, I guess in that sense, I do have a little bit of modern thinking because probably back in the 1950s it would have been insisted that to be a real man you must be the provider too. And I'm not saying that you have to even live up to that. I'm just saying just be a man, be a protector. But here's the thing, be a protector of children, be a protector of women. And this is where I find that the left has like totally fell down, especially these leftist men. It's like you no longer protect women. You're okay with men going into women's spaces. All right, guys, you leftist men, this is what you're okay with. So you're cool with men going in where your wives or your girlfriends are going to be and possibly raping them or something like that. But you're doing it because, God, you want to be inclusive. You're also fine with your children being indoctrinated in schools. You're fine with that. Um, so that they can learn about things like, having oral sex with a dildo attached to a woman.
Mm.
That's some shit that I've actually read in the book that is actually in schools. So you're okay with that type of stuff. you know um you're okay with your children socially transitioning, if not actually transitioning into the opposite sex. And when it happens, you as fathers post it all over social media as if it's a point of pride. You know what I see you as? I see you as a failed man. You are the worst type of man ever. So that is disgusting. You're a disgusting human being, but even more, you're a disgusting man. So, men, man up. It's time to take things where they need to go. Men and women both need to come together and do this so that we can get our culture back on track.
Yeah.
Because this shit, this feminization of America has led to all the crap that we're seeing
Yeah.
right now. And the thing that should be standing in the way is the men. And guess what?
Absolutely.
They're not
Well,
standing in the way. And the
well, Chris.
problem well, let me finish. The
Yeah.
problem is these men aren't standing in the way because they're pussies. They've been feminized.
And part of that feminization has been done by a government that criminalizes at what should traditionally was the role of a man. And I want to go to the comments quick from A. Perillo because this right here, he highlights it in my mind perfectly. Even protective men are hamstrung right now. Look at what's happened to so many people who, well, men, who've gotten into deep hot water over hurting, killing someone in self-defense or the defense of others. Remember Daniel Penny? This man protected people on the subway from a mentally deranged, violent individual who actually said he was going to do harm to people. Daniel Penny took it upon himself to protect everyone on that subway, on that train, and he was persecuted. He was prosecuted for it. Mind you, yes, race played a role in that because he was a white man. There was actually a black man in New York City around the same time who stabbed a guy who was trying to assault the woman he was with. He no charges, like he was let off very quickly, of course.
Yeah.
Mind you, because they don't really care. I believe it was black on black, which leftists, they don't care about that. They only care if an act of violence or if a situation helps push their narrative. Which with Daniel Penny, you had that perfect right there, right? A white man defending himself and others against a black man, and of course they put the black man in a position of sainthood, and all that insanity. So yeah, that's another thing we do have to acknowledge is unfortunately right now we have a culture that that is trying to feminize men by punishing men for acting like men and being protectors. That's absolutely true. A. Perillo, thank you for that. Chris, I'm going to throw it to you quick, but we are going to wrap up, everyone. So please get those final comments in. We've been going a little over an hour and a half, and here we thought we were going to do like 45 minutes this evening, which never seems to work for us. But Chris,
No.
I'll let you take this. With
No,
your last take.
I really don't have much to add. I think that there's a lot of insane pressure on men. And just remember, it comes from leftist women, and leftist women are insane. So, guys, you just need to ignore that shit and just go about your lives as men. And if you encounter a leftist woman and you date her and then marry her, well, that's cool. I mean, I hope you enjoy the castration kit she gives you, you know, and, go ahead and cut those balls off. It's just fine. All I can say is we don't need you in society anymore, so you can just go ahead and be a slave to your wife. So there you go. So I'll leave it at that.
Yeah. And with that, folks, we just want to say before we go that between now and New Year's, we're going to be taking a more relaxed approach. We might not be on every Monday. I know this next coming up Monday, I probably won't be on because I'm going away to my in-laws for Thanksgiving.
I'm going to Tahiti, so
be celebrating family. So we're probably not going to have an episode, a show next Monday. We'll keep it relaxed. Like I said, we might, maybe it'll even be a weekend and we'll suddenly pop on until after the new year. Then we're going to come back at you with a lot more content. We're going to have a lot of guests on. We're going to be really, lining up those guests because we're looking to jump into it and really get into it when it comes to talking about what's impacting the culture right now. So with that, wait, was it?
Okay. All right. First of all, I'm bringing this up right now. I'm calling you out. Damn it. All right. The stream was BS. Neither of you wore the sexy pilgrim or turkey costume in honor of Thanksgiving. Okay. You don't understand. I have a freaking turkey jock strap on. Okay. I just can't show it right now.
I can't. Oh, Chris, I know I'm more reserved, but I know I'm more reserved. I know I am, so it gets me blushing all the time. But no, it's just like, well, okay. Well, I thought about when, it was funny because Chris and I were having a conversation before the stream about, just like in general masculinity and all that stuff and all kinds of stuff. And we got onto body hair as part of the conversation, which to me is one of the things, because I will admit, I remember, especially in the, in the gay community among homosexual men, there is this drive for a lot of them, unfortunately, to make themselves look like, in my opinion, little boys. So they shave their chests, they do all that stuff. So I was like to Chris, I was like, you know what, I should just take the shirt off underneath, do the zip up hoodie, because I got this whole woolly mammoth thing going on.
Yes, he does.
If I can make the noise. So anyways, I was like,
and look at this. Look at this tiny little beady hair. Look at my little tiny Jew hair.
Anyways, oh goodness, we're gonna get in so much trouble. Chris, you're shaming us. You're shaming. No. Anyways, folks, thank y'all. Chris, your face turned as red as the stripes on your flag, by the way.
Because I embarrassed myself. Because I'm really good at doing that.
Someone mentioned earlier about it doing that too. Okay, so anyways, thank y'all for tuning in, for commenting. This has been one of our most lively streams that we've had in a while, especially in the comment section. Keep an eye out for us when we go live in the future, and some of y'all will probably be our guests in the future as well, so we look forward to that. With that said, everyone, happy Thanksgiving, Merry Christmas, Happy New Year, and God bless you all. All right.
Happy Thanksgiving, everyone. Bye-bye.
Bye. All right, everyone, and we are live.